Hello beautiful people and welcome back to the Impossible Final Fantasy X challenge. In the last episode we killed Anima and now it's time to move on. But before that, let's quickly go over the rules. No sphere grid, no summoning, no customize, no overdrives, no escapes, no encounters and no blitzball. Thank you! We are chased out of the Macalania temple by the Guado guardians. It's impossible to avoid these encounters, but they aren't really that hard because you can just petrify every enemy they summon and the Guado themselves. And actually in the remaster version you only have to fight one battle. I think in the original you had to fight like 2 or 3 because Tidus is a little bit slower there. And it's already time for the first boss, but I don't think you can actually even call this a boss fight because you can just cast sleep on him and he will never do anything during the battle, so it's a really easy one. You just throw a sleeping grenade and petrify grenade on the Guados to kill them in one hit, just like previously. Then you start spamming anything that deals damage, pretty much. You can use Riku's items, because it's such an easy boss, I wouldn't spend like any valuable items. You can also use Lulu's spells, it won't wake up from those, or Kimari's Lancet. But don't use physical attacks because that will wake him up. He will naturally wake up in 7 turns, I believe. So then you have to just throw another sleeping grenade, but that's all there is to the fight. He can actually drop a really good armor with SOS Haste ability on it, but it's really rare. I wouldn't go grinding for it. You can get one in Calmlands much easier, and Calmlands isn't that far away, so I wouldn't waste my time on that. And there he goes. Most random encounters are actually harder than this boss, so... So we end up in Picanel Island and the problem is that we are alone with Tidus. You have to fight this zoo enemy, which is pretty hard, especially without Riku. Here I attack it a few times and I don't realize that I don't have the slow touch weapon equipped, so my attacks does really nothing because it has 18,000 health and my attack deals 100. But thankfully the fight is a little bit scripted, so that when Tidus dies, backup arrives, and Auron did arrive here. Lulu will come next. The plan here is to first of all inflict slow with Tidus and darkness with Auron, because we got dark touch weapon for Auron in Moonflow, I think, and we also got poison touch weapon for Lulu in Moonflow as well. So you inflict slow, darkness and poison and hope you survive. What I didn't know that this zoo enemy isn't quite like the Garuda in Mushroom Rock Road. It has basically the same moves, but the sonic boom that this enemy does, it cannot miss with darkness. It will always hit, I think, and I was under the assumption that if you inflict darkness you are pretty much safe here, but that is not the case. So this is actually the first time that I died during this challenge, so I got up to Picanel Island without dying, and this bird is the one that killed my run. To be honest, it was inevitable. You really cannot complete this challenge without dying. The battles are just gonna get harder. On my next attempt, everything went smoothly and the status effects landed almost immediately. Poison does 3000 damage per turn, so Zoo went down really fast and didn't even have time to use Sonic Boom. You can actually survive the move as well if you defend with Auron right before it, so it's not really a problem. After this you need to start exploring and finding your other party members. I managed to find Kimari and Waka, and as soon as I see Riku on the screen, a random enemy comes. It's the sandworm, which is a really scary enemy. This enemy has huge HP amount as well, 45,000 I believe. Thankfully you can poison him and sleep him, but the problem is my sleep strike weapon is on Yuna, and you don't have access to Yuna on Picanel Island at all actually. And my other access to sleep is Riku, who is standing like 5 meters away from me and for some reason won't help me. So I'm really fucked here. The worm's normal attack isn't that dangerous because it targets only one character and you can easily just revive them. But I didn't know this at the time, but I believe if you target the boss 10 times with any attacks, it will use Earthquake after that, and Earthquake is pretty much an instant kill to everyone. Man, we need to get Riku back as soon as possible. On my next attempt I got Riku back and managed to actually encounter Cactuars. You can steal Chocobo wings from them, which cast haste on every party member at once, which is pretty useful. With Riku in the party, these worms are pretty much harmless. You just poison them, and after they are poisoned, just use a sleep grenade, and that's that. You can steal shadow gems off them, which are really good. They halve the HP of the enemy, so if the enemy has like 50,000 HP, it will deal 9,999 damage, although this doesn't work on any bosses I believe, but for example I can just steal shadow gems of this worm and throw them back at him for 10,000 damage each. Really good stuff. The shoes are still a little bit dangerous, but you can use the shadow gems you steal from worms to deal lots of damage to it, to kill it quickly. Or you can use light curtains to give it protect. That's about it really. You can steal smoke bombs of him 3 at a time I believe. So it's a really good idea to stock up on those, because Picanel Island is the last chance to get shadow gems and smoke bombs for quite a while actually. I think the next chance is after you get the airship, so really good idea to stock up on those. They are really useful items. For some reason I lost all of the clips killing the normal smaller enemies, but they aren't really that hard. You just throw a petrify grenade or something. Smoke bomb even kills them. Naturally I stole 99 smoke bombs and 99 shadow gems, so now I'm ready to move on to the Alped home. The home is a pretty short place. There's some forced encounters and also random battles. The battles aren't that hard. I think all of them are weak to petrify, so you can just spam petrify grenades if you want to. However, I did want to steal some items from the enemies. So for the bomb fight, you can just throw a silence grenade to make the Guado completely harmless, and then you can just start stealing. I do have SOS Null Blaze on Tidus, Waka and Yuna I believe, so all of the bomb's attacks are fire type, so they cannot really kill any of those characters, and Riku can just keep stealing. Whenever you are done with stealing from the one bomb, just petrify it with Waka's Stone Touch weapon, or I do have it for Kimari as well. Petrify grenade doesn't work for stealing because it petrifies everyone on the screen at once. I should have probably just petrified the Guado as soon as possible with Waka, because I don't want to steal from him. Aside from that, this battle is just basically free loot. The dual horns have nothing worth stealing from, so just petrify grenade them to get rid of them quickly. The chimeras are actually really dangerous if you are trying to steal. I wouldn't suggest doing that. You can steal Arctic winds from them 3 at a time, which is really good, but honestly not worth it. You can silence them to get rid of the thunder spell, but they do physical attacks as well, so you have to use darkness on them as well. And then they have that like water move, I don't remember the name right now, aqua something or what is the name, I don't know. Anyways, it hits everyone and it's a pretty much instant wipe, so it's dangerous, don't do it, please. Just throw a petrify grenade and move on. After that very short story sequence and Tidus finding out that Yuna is actually gonna die, we get access to the airship. The problem is the airship is infested with enemies. Thankfully these enemies are just the same enemies that were in home, so I won't be showing those to you because you know the drill by now. But we have to fight a boss. And this boss is actually a little bit tricky, but there's some really good strategies out there, so let's see what we can do. There's this unique mechanic in this fight where you can use Tidus or Riku to order Sid to move the airship backwards a little bit to avoid a big attack from the boss. First we haste the full party with a Chocobo wing. Then you want to slow down the boss with a silver hourglass and use a smoke bomb to infect the darkness as well. Now the boss is mostly harmless. Kimari can just attack and Auron will use power break, just in case his attack lands. Here I am stealing a couple of water gems for later, but it's no big deal if you don't get any because you can steal them later. Before they are needed, so this is just a good opportunity to get a few. The boss only uses physical attacks and stone gaze. If the stone gaze lands and petrifies a party member, just use a remedy to get rid of it. Keep in mind that this also removes any buffs that the party member had, so haste and stuff like that, so you have to reapply those. After the boss has used 2 attacks, he will move his head up, and this is to signal you that he is doing something big, and you have to move the airship backwards, or it's pretty much a guaranteed game over. So we use Riku's pullback command. And actually Sid is on the turn order on the right there, so the airship will move whenever Sid gets his turn. You really can't do much damage during this phase because Riku's items won't reach the boss and the other characters are so weak. You can use Kimari's Lancet or Lulu's Black Magic, Waka's attacks. That's about it. So it's a good idea to buff up your party members. I gave Auron his haste back and I'm also planning to use Shell on everyone. Whenever you are far away from the boss and Sid gets a turn, he will use this guided missiles attack. It deals about, I want to say 3000 damage maybe? I don't remember. Anyways, he will use it 3 times. So I'm just stalling here and waiting for Sid to use up those salvos. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. That's pretty much it for this phase. Just wait until Sid uses those and then use a command to move back into the close range. Alright, so Sid has used all of his missiles, so it's time to move back into the close range and start fighting him normally again. He will use all of the same things again, so he will use 2 physical attacks, move his head back up, and then we have to move backwards again. Only this time I'm gonna start using Poison Fangs with Riku to steal enormous amount of damage to the boss. If you don't have any extra Poison Fangs, do not use any elemental attacks, because I believe that Evrae will heal from those, so you need to use like smoke bombs or silence grenades or stuff like that. They will deal 700 damage compared to the 2000 damage that Poison Fang does, so you can see how that can be useful to farm those earlier. My goal for this fight is to get 3 water gems from him, so I still have to steal another one. Now looking back on this, I probably would skip this stealing part altogether, because you can get water gems right after this, and it's so annoying trying to steal from a boss. This would be a lot faster if you don't steal, so do not recommend. So Kimari lost all of his buffs here because he got turned to stone. It's probably not worth buffing him up again, at least with Shell. That's useless at this point. Haste maybe, but probably not. You are probably better off just dealing damage with Riku and not wasting a turn on her. However, if Auron loses his buffs, it's a really good idea to buff him up, because he's the only one who can tank a Poison Breath attack in the end, and he will need buffs to do that. Well, that sucks. I'm just gonna have to apply those buffs again. Riku can actually heal a stone with Alphead potions, which double down as a party heal, so those are pretty good. Okay, we are closing in on the tricky part of this fight. Whenever you lower Evrae's HP under 10,667, Evrae will use haste on himself. This will of course make the battle much harder. So, the strategy here is to take the HP down as close as possible to 10,667 and then wait for the head to go up and move backwards. This ensures that like he's in a position in the attack pattern that he has just used the Poison Breath attack, which comes after this. It will come when you are far away. So when you move back in, he will start using those physical attacks again, and that's your time to start dealing a lot of damage, because as soon as you go under that threshold, he will use the haste and he will have lots more turns. So you really have to be quick or you will die. I'm not sure if I can explain it better than that, but yeah, it's about 100 HP off that thresh mark. Is that the word? I don't know. You get the point. Anyway, so now when we move back in, we will start spamming Poison Fangs on him, hoping that we will kill him before the next Poison Breath will come. Because we don't have time to move backwards anymore. So we either have to kill Evrae, or he will use Poison Breath and kill everyone except Auron. There's a backup strategy involving switching Riku out and letting the party members tank the Poison Breath. Auron survives, and then you switch Auron to Riku and revive everyone. no, you throw a poison fang or something. I don't know. I just went for the speed kill. So let's see. Keep in mind that the darkness also only lasts 7 turns, so it's a good idea to wait for the first darkness to go away, then use a smoke bomb just before triggering the haste, so he will be darkness for this form, or it will be game over because he will just one hit kill you. So now the next move is Poison Breath, so we have to kill him before that. Rico gets 2 turns. Auron is being a bit cheeky and stealing the kill credit. That's funny. Rico did most of the damage. Oh well. Also, I want to say I did not come up with this strategy for the fight. I am using a guide from GameFAQs made by San Mato, so all credit to him. There's actually 5 forced encounters before we get to the save point, so if I die here I have to redo the whole boss fight again. Thankfully the first one is easily handled by just throwing a petrify grenade. So this fight is slightly harder because the YKT, you really don't want him to be the last enemy alive or he will start kicking your party members out of the battle, which will quickly end up in game over. So the plan here is to use a sleeping powder and then heal one of the monks so that that monk will survive another item, which will be smoke bomb. That smoke bomb will inflict darkness on the YKT and leaving one monk alive. Then you can just simply use fire or water elemental items on the YKT to kill him off before the monk even wakes up. And that's the safe way to do this battle. The third and fourth battles are the same as the first and second, so I'm not gonna go over those. And in the last battle we have this YAT enemy, which is really scary, because he can, if he gets a turn before you kill the monks, it's a game over. So the first order is to use Petrify Grenade to get rid of the monks. This will make your party members run towards the other enemy, and now he will only target one party member at a time. Just use whatever to kill him. Bomb cores kill him in 2 turns. Thankfully we get access to the save point after those battles, because this next place is pure hell. You are controlling only Yuna, and you can imagine how well that can go. Thankfully you can recruit Auron right away just using the teleporter. I actually got a random encounter right after this cutscene, which I did end up winning, but it took me like almost 10 minutes, I believe. The problem is with no Riku in the party, it's really slow to kill enemies, and these enemies are starting to hit really hard. Like, this can probably like one hit kill Yuna every single turn. And Auron has a really hard time hitting the flyers. I believe you can just move forward with the story from the Auron's recruiting location if you just go north from there. I don't think you have to recruit Kimari or Lulu, but I did do that anyways. I also looted all of the treasure chests in this place, which took me quite a long time. I probably got like 20 game overs. I'm not gonna show you them here because honestly these battles, they take forever, and I just had to get lucky to get good encounters which I could win and then book it for the save point after every treasure. Yeah, nothing much else to this place. Just get Auron and move on. When you move along this corridor, you are guaranteed to get at least one encounter, which will be this larva type enemy. Thankfully I do have the silence strike weapon for Yuna, so this battle is a breeze. He cannot do anything after you silence him. He's weak to thunder, so Lulu's thunder, Aaron's lightning strike and Kimari's lightning strike make really short work of this battle. I don't know what's the strategy if you don't have like silence strike. Probably good idea to have some sort of silence weapon. You can get silence touch weapons easily from like me and High Road. But actually I don't know if that works, if he has any resists. It probably works, to be honest. Then I had to break my rules to fight Isaru. You are actually forced to use Aeons in that fight. I'm not gonna show you those because they aren't really part of this challenge. Then it's time for the Tidus, Riku and Waka part. In the random encounters you can steal water gems, and it's a really good idea to stock up on a couple of those for upcoming random battles. The water gems hit 5 times and each hit deals about 600 damage or 900 if the enemy is weak to it, so in total it does about 3000 normally and 4,500 if the enemy is weak. So that's a really good way to deal lots of damage fast. It will bring a lot of safety to the upcoming battles. This battle is perfect for stealing because you can just sleeping powder them and then steal away as much as you want. The water gems are a rare steal, so it takes a while to get some of them, but the dragon scales you get from these are useful as well. I actually stayed here until I had 99 dragon scales and I think about 20 water gems, and that should be enough for the upcoming battles. It's time to fight Evrae again, but this time he's undead, and that means you can just use 2 Phoenix Downs on it to deal a massive amount of damage and kill it in 2 hits. Really, this is one of the easiest bosses in the whole game. Not much to talk about here. He can drop a stone touch weapon at a pretty good rate, so it might be a good idea to get one for one of the characters you don't have one on yet. I did do this battle 2 times to get stone touch weapon for Riku. After the battle you can loot this chest for Waka's weapon with evade and counter ability. This can be really useful later on when the enemies start to hit so hard that you really want to evade their attacks. I believe this guarantees the evasion on some attacks. I'm not so sure. And then we have only the high bridge to go before the Seymour boss fight. But the random encounters here are really brutal. For example, in this fight, you need to kill the front row enemy before the back row enemies get their turn, or it's a game over. And you basically have only 2 turns with Riku, I believe, to kill the front row guy. So I think the best approach is to use Shadow Gem to halve everyone's HP, and then you throw a water gem and hope it hits the front row enemy 3 times, I believe. I think you have a couple of turns with the other characters as well after this, so they can maybe finish it off, but I got pretty lucky on these fights and I managed to always hit the water gem correctly. It's only like 2 to 3 battles until you get to the save point. So even if you die, it's not a big deal. And you can just try again. But now you can probably see why the water gems were so important. They do have other uses after this as well. So it's not only here you need them. The situation in this battle is looking kind of grim right now, but Actually, the evade and counter weapon comes in handy here because Waka will evade every attack these guys do now, so they cannot kill him. He can just kill them slowly or try to revive them, but they are really low HP from the shadow and fire gem, shadow and water gems already, so Waka can easily handle them at this point. I had another fight against these guys, and this time the water gem didn't kill the front row guy, so I'm in trouble right now. And of course the front row guy, it's Riku. I should be reviving Riku here with Waka, but for some reason I decided it's a good idea to attack. And trust me, it does pretty much nothing at this point. Waka dies from the AoE and Oren has only 500 HP, and as a last effort I try to revive Riku. It's painful to watch this. Then Auron dies, but for some reason Riku gets her turn before the back row guy and finishes off the fight with water gem. Riku is so fast he can actually get a lot of turns in before the enemies at this point of the game anyways. Okay, time to fight the big bad Seymour. This fight is surprisingly easy, although it's thanks to a brilliant strategy, not done by me by the way. The plan is to kill Seymour with poison and do nothing else to him and just try to survive. That sounds simple, right? Well, it's not so simple, but that's basically the gist of it. So first of all, I'm gonna use Chocobo Feather on Riku. And then we use the Poison Fang to get the poison status on Seymour. Well, how do we survive this battle? Thankfully Auron has a lot of HP compared to the other characters, and I do have all of the ward armors for him. And Seymour only uses spells, elemental spells. So, I'm gonna swap Auron's armor depending on what Seymour does next. For example, first he does blizzard attacks, and Auron starts off with the ice ward armor. I'm taking this fight really slow at the moment because I'm trying to remember like what to do next. So I switch to lightning ward because Seymour will do lightning next, and I bring in Riku to give haste to Auron so he has time to heal and switch between armors, between Seymour's attacks. I also use a Lunar Curtain to give Auron Shell, which halves all of the magical damage he gets, so Auron is basically invincible right now. And this is how you beat Seymour. Now I just keep swapping between armors and healing. Never do anything to Seymour after this point, because if you hit him and he is low enough HP, he will switch phases and he will get new attacks. But the poison will never trigger the phase transition, so he will be basically in phase 1 for the duration of this battle, and this is the only reason we can win this fight. I had a spare turn here, so I tried to revive Riku in hopes that she would survive and I would get a chance to steal from Seymour. Sadly, this never happened. He killed Riku every time I tried. And later on I realized stealing might be actually a bad thing because it might actually trigger the phase transition. I'm not too sure about that, but you never know about these things. Like, stealing can actually trigger a counter attack, so don't try to do it, you don't need the items. I think he only gives Tetra Elementals anyway, which are useless. The attack pattern for Seymour's spells is the following. He will first use ice, followed by lightning, water and fire. All in all, it took me about 12 minutes of armor switching to finally defeat Seymour with the poison strategy. There's some other strategies involving using SOS, null element armors, but this one is really easy to pull off and you can easily get all of the ward armors for Auron. But yeah, I think that wraps up this episode. It's pretty long already, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day. Bye bye.
We escaped with our skins intact, but Yuna lost something.